at the Safir home. Okay, in the moat, and Parshat Behaalotcha, and so there's an idea that comes up in the Parsha. It's actually an interesting thing. The same concept, the same idea, or a theme comes up in a few different places in the Parsha in completely unrelated ways. But the same idea goes through all of these places. I just wanted to point this out, and then of course we'll speak about a tshuva or two from Rav Oshri from the Holocaust on the topic. So we see the idea of a ratzon to do mitzvos in the parsha. We see the idea of a strong ratzon to do mitzvos, of a strong will on behalf of people to be able to do what they're supposed to do. Oh, wow, nice haircut. Wow.
Everything's coming today, no?
I guess not. I don't know.
This is
it's a vegetarian. So we see in a few different places this idea of a ratzon to do mitzvos. So the first one, which is the most obvious one, is the whole parsha of Pesach Sheni is in Parshas Behaalotcha. Pesach Sheni is the situation where there were a bunch of Jewish people that was time for Pesach, and they couldn't bring the korban because they were tamei. They were tamei to a dead body. They were working with Yosef. They were dealing with the aron of Yosef Atzadik, and therefore they became tamei to a mace. And a person who's tamei is not allowed to bring a korban Pesach. Right? So Hashem made them all do the korban Pesach in the Midbar, and these people came to Moshe Rabbeinu and they said, "Lama nigara, why should we lack? Why should we be less than everybody else?"
Super holy Jews.
Right, why should we lack? Why shouldn't we also be able to to also do the korban Pesach? Right? So what you see from there, an idea which you're going to see again in another couple of places of, there's a concept in halacha, ones rachmana patre. Right? If there's an ones, a person is an ones, they're stuck. They can't do a mitzvah. They can't do something. They're pater, right? They're pater from doing it. If a person can't daven, they can't daven. If a person can't, a person's sick, they're not able to go to shul. A person for every, there's a concept of onis rachmana patre. But we see the attitude that a Jew is supposed to have. Right? The attitude is supposed to be, not that, Baruch Hashem, so I'm pater and I don't have to deal with it, and I don't have to worry about it. Yeah, but the ratzon, the desire, the will to go and try and do the mitzvah, right, any which way, and to come to Moshe Rabbeinu and say it's not fair. It's not fair that we're not having the opportunity to do the mitzvah like everybody else. Right? That shows an incredible ratzon to do mitzvahs. They're not looking for an out. They're not looking for a shortcut. They're not looking to get around it. That's one place that you see this idea of the parsha.
They're looking for more.
Yeah, they're looking to be able to do mitzvos, not to get out of mitzvos, to do the mitzvos, right? A lot of us, when the situation comes up that, I can't go to learn tonight because I have to watch the kids. Oh, okay, too bad, right? Okay.
The big one is Tachanun, I think.
Yeah, Tachanun, right? But Tachanun doesn't show up, right? Yeah, so
the earth side of so.
Yeah, right?
But saying Tachanun is not a mitzvah on a day when you're not supposed to say it.
No, okay, of course. The feeling of like, I got away without having to do it today. There's such a feeling. Yeah. So we see also Thursday, Monday, Thursday. Of course, when there's a bris Monday, Thursday.
You can look at it in a positive way. You can look at it as like, wow, today we don't have to say Tachanun, and that's
but that's not people looking at their watch. They're not looking at the. That's okay. So the other place that you see this in the parsha is like this, an amazing thing, and this is a comment that David Zucker in Chicago pointed out, a very powerful idea. It says at the end of the parsha, Miriam speaks lashon hara about Moshe Rabbeinu, right? And she gets tzoras, right? She gets this affliction on her skin, and Moshe Rabbeinu is going to daven for her. Okay, so Moshe Rabbeinu davens for her 5 words. He says, "Kel na refad na la." Hashem, please heal her, please. Right? Hashem, please heal her. So Rashi talks about this. And Rashi says, it's his sister. Why didn't he daven a little bit more? You know what I mean? People are sick. Rahman people have tzaros, Rahman, right? We daven and we beseech Hashem and we beg Hashem. It's his sister. What's he doing over here? So Rashi says an unbelievable thing. Rashi says that really Moshe Rabbeinu would have been ma'arich. He would have davened more for his sister. But he didn't want people to say that, for your sister you daven a lot, but for us you don't daven so much. Yeah. So Moshe Rabbeinu only davened short to make sure that nobody would have any complaints on Moshe Rabbeinu. So Stam, okay, you see what the leader of Klal Yisrael has to go through, and the type of criticism he was subjected to, and all the things. That's what he was worried about. But Sir Bezuker asked a very interesting question about this. He said, "One second." Rashi says it. Yeah, Rashi says that why was he mekatze? I think it's like a ksav yad in Rashi. It's in some chamashim and not in other chamashim, but it's in all the modern chamashim. It's there. So Rabbi Zucker asked a very interesting question about this. He said like this. He said, "Wait a second. If Miriam was so sick that she really needed longer davening, which is clear from Rashi, because Rashi says, why didn't he daven longer? So that means really he should have davened longer. So how did she get better with such a short tefillah?" Right? In other words, if she,
it's Moshe davening.
I know, but Rashi understood clearly that but then there won't be any question. Rashi wouldn't have a question, why didn't he daven longer? The answer would have been, that's all he needed to daven. Mm-hmm. But that wasn't the answer. The answer is, no, really, he should have davened longer, but he didn't, because he felt he couldn't under the circumstances. So Rizuka said, so why did it work? How did it work? He said, you see from him an unbelievable yesod. He said, when a Jew is in a situation that they can't do a mitzvah, they can't do what they're supposed to do, they do their best. You do your best, you try your hardest, and Hashem has to accept it. Hashem has to accept it. Right? So you hear the saying, he should have done more. Really, the situation required for more. It required more ruchnius, more hishtadlos, more davening. But he couldn't do it. He couldn't do it. For whatever reason, Moshe Rabbeinu obviously made a cheshbon that was correct. Why he felt under the circumstances, for whatever the pressures were, he could not daven longer. So this was enough, and it had to be enough. And you see that yesod here. You see the yesod that when we want to do something, we do whatever we can. We try, and Hashem has to accept it. If we're doing our best, we're putting in the most that we can do, Hashem has to accept it, and it's as if we did the best that we could do.
Who said this?
Rabbi Zucker, Rabbi David Zucker, it was the Rosh Kollel in Chicago. We were just talking about the Lakewood Kollel in Chicago. And then you find this in the third place also. This is amazing. Rabbi Moshe David Raleigh points this out. I had never heard this question before. But it's really like almost a contradiction from Rashi, from two psukim, from one to the next. When it comes to the menorah at the beginning of the Parsha, so the Torah tells us that Moshe Rabbeinu Zeh Maisa HaMenorah Miksha Zav Ad Yerichad Pircha Miksha Hi Zeh Maisa HaMenorah Asher Here Hashem Es Moshe, that Hashem showed Moshe. So this is the famous Rashi that tells us that Moshe was having a hard time making the menorah, right? So Hashem showed it to him. Zeh Maisa HaMenorah Asher Here. Hashem showed Moshe Rabbeinu what the menorah was, so that Moshe Rabbeinu would be able to do it. But then the very same pasuk says, Kain Asa Es HaMenorah. Rashi says that the menorah made itself. Right, that they made a fire, they collected the gold, they threw all the gold into the fire, and the menorah popped out. So Moshe Davar says, I understand, Imkain Ma Hoel Herosa Moshe. Why did you have to show it to Moshe at the beginning? Right, Moshe Rabbeinu wanted to make the menorah. He said, Hashem, I don't get this, the flowers and this, I don't get the whole thing. So why didn't Hashem just say to him, no problem, Moshe Rabbeinu, I'm going to take care of it anyway, don't worry, and you don't have to worry about this. That's not what he did. He showed it to him. So Moshe Rabbeinu would study it and get it and understand it, and then Hashem did it anyway. So why did he do that? Ela Kadeshia his orus hatachtonim. He showed it to Moshe Rabbeinu so that Moshe Rabbeinu would want to make it. So Moshe Rabbeinu would have the ratzon, the cheshek, the desire and the drive to make it. Ki b'makom shelo yitachin ha'maisa, because when a person can't do the action, dai ha'his orus bilvad. Right? It's enough just to want to do it. So we see on the third place we see by Pesach Sheni they wanted to do it and they were given the opportunity to do it fully. By Moshe Rabbeinu, right? He wanted to daven longer, but he couldn't. So Hashem accepted it. Over here, they couldn't do it at all. Right? Moshe Rabbeinu couldn't do it at all. All he could do was want to do it. All he could do was have the hisorus, and he says that daya hisorus bovad, and that's all it was. So he says you see that the ratzon of a Jew to do mitzvos. And the trying of a Jew to do mitzvos, even under impossible circumstances, right? So is either it's as if it was done, or Hashem gives you the opportunity to do it, or whatever you do is enough, and Hashem takes it, and it's as if you did the mitzvah, Bishnei Musa and perfectly. So now I was just thinking about this. That there's so many questions. I'm not going to focus on any one in particular. I was just flipping through this today. There's so many questions in here that have to do with this topic of Jews under extreme circumstances, right? Under extreme situations. Here's one question about reading of Shema by slave laborers. The shaila is that they had to go out to work way early in the morning, way before sunrise, way before it was late enough to say Shema. And throughout the entire day, they literally, it's hard to believe, he said it, during work itself, it was impossible for them to concentrate and read the entire Shema properly, since the Germans approached them constantly with work orders and commands compelling the Jewish laborers to interrupt the reading of the Shema. Literally, they didn't have 2 minutes throughout the day to be, the morning to be able to say Shema, as he says. So he says, so what do they do? They have no choice, what do they do? So he says, I told them they should only say it in fragments, do it as much as they could, do what you could. Then there's another shaila here. Electric lights, Shabbos candles. Okay, that's in some places even the Chafila they say you could do. But another question he had about the Dalit Kosos on Pesach. right? In the Kavno ghetto, so of course there was no grape juice, there was no wine. So the Jews came and they said, "What are we going to do for Dalet Kosos? What are we going to do?" And he said that they prepared a tea. They made a certain tea and they added some sweetener to it. And he told people that they should make a shahakol on it, and he told them exactly what to do and use this for Dalet Kosos. And he said that people were so excited that they had the opportunity to do Dalet Kosos that people took it upon themselves to make tea for everybody, and they were like distributing tea with the psak of Rav Oshri, saying, use this tea for Dalet Kosos, and here you make a shahakol and not a, don't forget to only make a shahakol. You're fulfilling the mitzvah of the 4 cups and Passover. He says, in order to inspire the Jews with hope that the redemption was not far off, and also to fulfill the requirement, my students made the tea available to as many people as possible. Yeah, he just over and over, so many shilas in here, one after another. Just about just like wanting to do mitzvahs, just the ratzon to do mitzvahs. There's no bigger onus than this, no bigger onus than the Holocaust, right? People under extreme circumstances, of course they're patur, of course they didn't have to do any of these things. Yeah, but this is what Klal Yisrael is about. It's about the ratzon to do mitzvahs. We're not trying to shrug it off. We're not trying to look for the easy way out. We're not trying to look for the path of least resistance. We're trying to do the Ratzon Hashem. We're trying to do what's right. We're trying to do, like what we spoke about in Mesilas Yesharim. I'll end with this idea. Think about it this way. Achar Mei V'Esrim Shana, we're going to be up there. We're going to be watching a video of our life. And we're going to be seeing every mitzvah that we do. And every time we had an opportunity to do a mitzvah and we didn't, what are we going to be saying as we're watching the screen? We're going to say, please do it, please, please, please. Oh my gosh, I can't believe you didn't do that. I can't believe it, right? We spoke about this, right? Wearing tzitzis. Every second you're wearing tzitzis. It's mitzvahs, 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 mitzvahs. Every single second, right? A person going after 120 years, you're going to see all those times that I couldn't. What was I thinking? What was I thinking? What was I giving away? What was I? Yeah, that's the attitude, right? Our attitude to mitzvahs is that it's Ratzon Kadosh Baruch Hu L'Zakos says Israel Ficha Chir B'Lam Torah mitzvahs. It's for us. The mitzvahs. We're not doing Hashem any favors over here. We're not. It's not we're not helping him out by doing it. It's for us that we're doing the mitzvahs. It's for our benefit, and that's a person who is inculcated with that idea. And that, so of course we have all of the Yetzer Hara. The Yetzer Hara is always going to try to make us not want to do it, but we have to see through it and say, it's not me, that's the Yetzer Hara speaking. I want this mitzvah, I want to do it, and even when I can't do it, I want to show that I wish I could do it, and if I can try to do it in some ways, I'm going to try to do whatever I could do, and Mir Hashem, we should be Zocha, Hashem should take all of our partial mitzvahs and attempted mitzvahs and mitzvahs that we didn't even try to do, but wish that we could have done, and bring the Geula, Mir Hashem.
Amen.